Everybody, are we live? Are we live? I hope we're live. I don't know if we're live. I think we're live. How's everybody? Happy Friday. It's been 7 days. It's been 1 week since my last confession. And I've come to confess, I was the second gunman on the grassy knoll. Anyway, movie quote. Anybody know that movie? Name that movie. Somebody drop a comment and name that movie. All right, guys, happy Friday. It's been a week since my last confession. I'm here to give you another fabulous Friday tips with, that's, alliteration's terrible. I got some tips for you. Here it goes. 5 major flags that set you up for failure with your desire or your methods, your routines, your efforts to obtain your goals. They are 1, living in Vagueville. 2, making grand gestures. 3, poor track records. 4, pain equals gain. And 5, you are stuck to your guns. Let me break them down for you and drop some knowledge bombs, and hopefully I can add some stuff that may, improve your lives a little bit, okay? I don't know if I did this in my last video in the shirt. I think I did. I promise I actually wash it in between these videos. But right now I'm really into the shirt, because I am motivated by fear. Anyway, okay, let's go. Living in Vagueville. This is flag number 1, living in Vagueville. These are what I see and what I've learned from Dr. Trevor Kashey, my nutrition coach, who created the supplement brand Prestige Labs that I highly recommend. Living in Vagueville. What do I see from my clients? You are often sure about the results that you should get, but absolutely and entirely vague about what it is that you want to get. I know I should lose weight, but I don't know how much. I should be about 130 or 40 or 50 or maybe 60. I just need to be a little bit lighter, right? Using phrases like I always or sometimes, never, rarely do these things. I kind of need to mostly work out hard some 3-4 times a week, right? Or, how much do you eat? Do you weigh and measure your food? Definitely not. Or occasionally, and when you do weigh and measure your food, those are the days that you actually weigh yourself, because the number on the scale will likely be the number that you want to see, as opposed to methodically weighing and measuring your food every day or weighing and measuring yourself every day. So what happens? We want to make stuff better, but we avoid doing the things that will actually make that stuff better at the exact same time. Right? We want to be better at nutrition, but most of us guess about what we should eat or only kind of pay attention to what we're eating. I mean, really, honestly, do an objective look at the food that you're eating and ask yourself, are you being really, really specific with what you eat and when you eat and the amounts that you eat and the goals that you're trying to achieve with this nutrition, or do you just kind of follow a plan? We want to go to the gym because we're told or we believe that fitness will improve our physique or help us lose weight, but we only kind of go 3 or 4 times a week, and it's mostly at 9 a.m., but sometimes at 6, and it depends on if I'm working or if it's raining or if it's cold or if it's the fall or the summer or if the sun is up or the sun is down. How really consistent are you with going to the gym? Do you go Monday through Friday no matter what? And if you're watching this video going, yep, my guess is you've probably got better results than some of the other people who are watching this video going, I probably go 3 times a week. If I asked you what your plan was in order to get fit and healthy, you might say, I have a plan. It's eating mostly healthy foods, kind of staying away from carbs, but not eating too many, but only the good carbs, and sometimes before 8 o'clock, unless it's movie night on Fridays. And I exercise about 3 or 4 times a week. You see what we're getting at? The living in Vagueville. You track your body weight on days that you know that the scale will give you a number that you like, but not necessarily on every day, because you know that yesterday you had a bagel and you're not supposed to. Each week you are excited about a 5-pound weight loss, but the problem is if you had 5-pound weight loss the last 20 weeks that you've told me about it, you'd be down 100 pounds. Unfortunately, you yo-yo in between. So you only talk about the 5-pound weight loss that you're excited about on Tuesday, but you ignore the fact that you gained 9 pounds between Wednesday and Sunday. Living in Vagueville. What do you want? To be happy. Very vague. To be healthy. Also vague. How do you define them? Do you have a specific weight goal? Are you afraid to say what that weight goal is because you don't think you can actually achieve it? I cannot tell you the number of discussions that I've had with our coaches, Dylan, Marky, Amanda, where we discuss our interactions with our clients. We have a client say, well, I want to be 180 pounds. Now, meanwhile, we know based on BMI that still puts them in the overweight category. They should be 160. But they say no. I can't be 160. I'm a big guy. I'm a big girl. I got big bones. I'm an athlete. I'm muscular. I don't want to be skinny. What that person is doing 9 out of 10 times is softening the blow, because they're afraid to mention that 160 is actually the goal they have for themselves. But if they say it out loud, then they have to hold themselves to it, and they don't believe that they're going to hit it because they've failed so often. And it's upsetting to think about failing again. What do you want? Frustration because your plan is vague and your results are vague. And so you don't even know if you've ever gotten your results. And if I specifically ask you, and when I say I mean if any of our coaches ask you, well, what do you want to be? What weight do you want to be? Well, I'm not sure. Well, come on, give me a weight. And you get defensive. I noticed you were up 3/4 of a pound yesterday. Why do you think that is? Whoa, hey, relax. Okay, it's just one day. It's only a blip in the scale. We're asking these questions so that we can investigate, so that we can learn, so that we can objectively, so we can insert logic, reason, and objective, information to try and make you better. Whereas you are recalling all of the times that you've failed and this negative feedback loop, and you've got this pain that comes out of it, and you don't want to discuss it. Meanwhile, I know that we have to. So what's the solution? The solution to living in Vagueville is get out of Vagueville. Calibrate where you're at, honestly. Genuinely, ask a coach. Hey, look, if you don't want to sign up for our coaching program, sign up for a consultation and get calibrated. Where are you right now? And where do you want to be? Define those goals and craft your plan specifically so you have something to specifically hold yourself to. When I was listening to sales training from Jim Rohn would say, if you have, let's say you have an employee that works for you and their job is to make 20 calls a day. And you say, hey, Jim, how many calls did you make? And Jim goes, well, see, the thing is, and you're like, no, Jim, I just want to know how many calls you made today. He says, well, about that. And you say, Jim, the reason this box is so small is because you can only fit a number in there. I can't fit well about that in the box. How many calls did you make? Get specific and get out of Vagueville. Flag number 1 for failure, living in Vagueville. Flag number 2 is grand gestures. Listen, if you're living in Vagueville and you don't know what your results actually should be, well, then what you're going to say is something big. Fortune favors the bold, but so does disasters. And about 96% of the time, it's actually disasters that favor the bold, right? I mean, that's why they say only 4% of businesses succeed after 10 years. If you're living in Vagueville all the time, the only way to actually know if something has happened is if it's an over-the-top result. It's kind of like the business saying, well, if gross revenue is high enough, then there's got to be some actual profit in there somewhere, which is not a great business plan. If you haven't defined what you want in order to know you've gotten it needs to be huge. Stop making grand gestures. Stop trying to lose 20 pounds in 1 week. Small habits, small consistencies, small learning moments, nuggets. Flag number 3. Your prior track record. Conflict on the inside between what you want or what you say you want and what you're actually getting. You create a negative feedback loop. This leads to trauma at some point. Think about it. If you have a poor track record and you have this negative feedback loop and you're yo-yoing over and over and over again, eventually you're going to have trauma. You're going to be diagnosed with diabetes, or you or somebody you know is going to have a heart attack. So what's the solution? Get coached objectively, honestly, rationally, and constructively so that you can learn and grow. You can do this yourself, or you can join a group. You can hire a coach, or you can have like an online coach, somebody you just follow on a YouTube channel. But get objective, honest, rational, and constructive. Get out of that yo-yo, that poor track record. That poor track record is a flag for failure. What's another one? Number 4, you believe that you must be in pain in order to get gain. How many people think they need to suffer through a diet or a nutrition plan in order to get results? I know all the time. Right? I interview somebody interested in joining the coaching program or a member of Blue Titan. And you're like, well, I've got to be in pain in order to get results. It's got to suck in order to get results. Well, if it sucks, you're not going to do it consistently because you won't like it. So eventually you'll stop doing it. And if you stop doing it, then you'll lose the results that you might have gotten because the plan sucked, because it was maybe really difficult. And then you're yo-yoing, creating a negative feedback loop. And you're starting to think that all diets fail and I am a failure because every time I try it, I keep failing, right? You do not need to be in pain to be gained. Or better yet, not all pain is the same. Here's another way to say it. Change for the better is often painful. That is true. But experiencing pain does not mean that you are changing for the better. If you are living in Vagueville, judging yourself by grand gestures, and have a poor track record, then you think every experience must be painful. And thereby, in order to be experiencing success, you need to be painful. It's just not true. If happiness is defined by the pain of trying to be successful, then happiness becomes pain. And thus, you think in order to be happy, you need to be in pain. You're teaching yourself that you need to have the anxiety, or you need to give yourself an ulcer following this really tough nutrition plan in order to see success. And that is just not true. It's the difference between somebody who wants to walk on stage and be absolutely shredded and ripped. That person needs to follow an incredibly difficult, hard to sustain program. You, if you do not want to walk on stage at 3% body fat, do not. Success can actually be enjoyable. You can actually enjoy this entire process. You can enjoy your conversations with your coach. You can enjoy watching YouTube videos to get new recipes. You can enjoy finding new foods that actually fit your palate. You can enjoy being a part of a group that's trying to be a better version of yourself. It does not need to be painful. And God, it's so sad if you think that you need to be in pain in order to get success with your nutrition or your fitness plan. And again, I hate the word diet, so I'm never going to use it, because diet insinuates that it's temporary and you'll eventually go back to what you were doing before. It doesn't need to be painful. True progress is actually quite pleasant. The final flag for failure is being stuck to your guns. Not sticking to your guns, but being stuck to your guns. And by the way, you might think what you're doing is sticking to your guns. I'm telling you, you're stuck to your guns. It's like you were told that eating calories is what makes you fat. So the more food you eat, the fatter you'll get. And by cutting your calories, you will lose weight. That's not the whole story. In fact, evidence shows us that by cutting your calories, your body will self-adjust its metabolism and keep you at the weight that you're at. So it's not just about cutting your calories. Evidence actually tells us that your insulin and your cortisol are the reason why you store fat and eventually become obese. And that if you are obese or overweight, that you're going to become hypersensitive. You're going to be hyperinsulin sensitive. And if you're hyperinsulin sensitive, then you're going to gain or store weight more easily. And this is all very sciencey, and you may have zero interest in that. But if you believe, because for 20 years you've been told, well, the more you eat, the more weight you're going to gain, well, then when I tell you that that's actually not true, you can continue to eat 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, 3,000 calories a day. We got to find the thing that works for you. But what we need to do is change the quantity, the quality, and when. If you're fighting with me because you don't believe me, because you are stuck to your guns, well, you're never actually going to have the opportunity to interject objectiveness and reason and rationale into your plan. We assume the worst to save time and energy or to survive. That is what our brain does. And I want you to, instead of assuming the worst or being stuck to your plan, I want you to interject logic and reason. This all boils down to the quote that I've said in probably the last 24 videos. In between stimulus and outcome, in between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space, we want to interject logic and reason. I am tired, therefore I eat. Wait, no, hold on. I don't have to eat. Maybe I'm just eating all the time because I feel like that's what I need to do, but I don't have to. What if I did something else? Stimulus, time for you to think and interject logic and reason. Then you actually do something, your response. And then after your response, you get an outcome. Stimulus, response, outcome. Now, based on that outcome, can I analyze that outcome and say, well, is this what I actually want? And if it's not, can I go back and improve my response? Stimulus, response, outcome. And your belief system, excuse me, your belief system is omnipresent in all of this. So while I'm actively trying to coach you, or you're doing this on your own, you have this belief system, and it's constantly at battle or at war with your plan. You're thinking whatever you're thinking that you've thought for so many years, and that's leading to you choosing to act a certain way, which is leading to an outcome. And is that outcome what you actually want? And if it's not what you want, you need to challenge your belief system and improve that space between stimulus and response so you can change your response. Objectively analyze your belief system and shed light on where it aligns with your goals and where it does not, and change where it does not. I hope I didn't just word vomit onto the screen. I hope some of this made some sense to you. I think the biggest takeaway that I would want to share with you is to get out of Vagueville. Be specific. Get specific. Come to terms with what it is that you want to get, and don't be afraid. Or be afraid and do it anyway. Pick that crazy goal, that crazy dress size or feeling or six-pack or handstand or 5 strict pull-ups or weight or amount of push-ups you want to do. Define it. Get rid of the grand gestures. Get rid of the yo-yoing. Be objective. Insert rational logic and reason in between stimulus and response. And get out of your stuck guns. Change your belief system. Improve your belief system so that you have a chance to improve yourself. All of this is done easier, by the way, with the coach. And if you are interested in coaching, I implore you to check out afewsimpledisciplines.com and check out some of the testimonials and feedback and before and afters that some of the people in our coaching program have experienced because they have gotten a coach to help them be objective and rational and reasonable. I hope you have an awesome Friday. We have some big things coming up this weekend and on Monday for you and with Blue Titan On Demand. And I hope you all are taking steps towards being the best version of yourself and learning from your mistakes, as we are all often making lots and lots of mistakes. I love you all. I'll see you soon. Enjoy your Friday night. Enjoy your weekend. Take care. Bye and all. Bye. Bye. Bye-bye now. Bye.